Hey guys, you have tuned in for a segment of the Grind Never Stops podcast, where we debate live news about all things sports. Before we start today's episode, I want to thank all the support that I've been getting. We have officially reached 190 subscribers on YouTube. Help us get to 200. And I want to thank all the donations that I have gotten, the support that I got from Instagram and Twitter. I appreciate all of you. And if you haven't supported me yet, all links for everything will be in the description. So, guys, you have tuned in for the final episode of the NBA season as the NBA Finals concluded last night as the Milwaukee Bucks became champions, beating the Suns in 6 games, 4-2. But this is your host, DJ Joe, as today we will debate what happened with the Suns and how the Bucks finally found a way to win after year and year and year after defeat and after being down after going back to Milwaukee for game 6. But for the Suns, it was just a major disappointment because I think D Bucks was out of gas in game 6 as he played 46 minutes. He didn't shoot the ball well and he needed to get going. And he tried his best to get his third straight 40-point performance. But it wasn't enough as going into the fourth, he had 16 points and ended up with only 19 points on 8 for 22 shooting, and he did not make a single three-pointer as he shot 0 for 7 from downtown. But Giannis went into the fourth scoring 39 and ended up the, the game with a 50-piece McNugget. But Chris Paul was the best son on the floor as he put up 26 points on 11 for 19. But this is not the end for the Suns. This is the beginning. And this is what the Suns envisioned when they drafted a young baller in college in Devin Booker. The Suns will be back and the Suns will go to the market in free agency and get that guy because they're missing that guy. And we thought they could have get it done with the roster they have now, which is Paul Crowder and all these boys, but they just couldn't get done. But they did beat LeBron James. They did beat Anthony Davis. They did beat Kawhi, Paul George, the Joker. But they couldn't beat Giannis. But they should have beat the Bucks. But I don't understand how they had the Bucks on their belt, and since Game 3 started, the Bucks stole everything. But the Suns are not finished, gentlemen. They will become stronger next season. They will have to make a decision on 3 guys who are not key. Maybe Cameron Payne could be a key guy, but they're also Frank Kaminsky and Torrey Craig. But the main thing that they hope to bring back is CP3 because Chris Paul has a player option. And you don't know what is in CP3's mind, but they just reached the NBA Finals. They lost in 6. They were the second seed. They beat the Clippers, the Lakers, the Denver Nuggets. They were 2 wins away from winning a championship. So obviously CP3 will look at that because all the Suns needed is that one guy to help them get to the big prize, which is the NBA Finals. But it was a great playoff run for the Suns, a great Cinderella run. But they just fell short. And the fourth is when they were out of gas, tired, and they just realized the Bucks were a better team. But I think the NBA really wanted Giannis to win this because he had 19 free throws and he had the same amount of free throws as the whole Suns did. And I could see a lot of both teams making the same drive, making the same play over and over. And the one who gets free throws is Giannis Antetokounmpo. But even all that, the Suns just couldn't make shots. They couldn't get a stop in the fourth because Middleton was trash from the floor the whole night. He wasn't making anything, he wasn't doing anything. But when the fourth happened, and it's game six of the finals, you're 12 minutes away from being champions. And that's where legends are made. And this is where legends are made, gentlemen. And Giannis had a great game the whole game from the tip to the end. But Middleton did not show up until the fourth. But the fourth is when Middleton could not miss any threes. He couldn't miss a jump shot or a free throw. And that's when Giannis kept dominating and dominating and dominating. But now for the Bucks, you have to applaud how they played. They were down 0-2 going back home for game 3, and they delivered for the fans ever since game 3. They got back in this NBA finals, and the momentum was stolen by the Bucks, and it was never stolen back by the Suns. It was all over the Bucks side since game 3. It never changed. But the Bucks found a way to dominate the Bucks. They let Booker go off for 82 points in game 4 and game 5. But they knew that the rest was going to miss shots and struggle. And that's when Devin Booker joined that club in game 6, as he couldn't get going consistently and he couldn't get the shot going. He didn't make a single three. His defense was garbage, but they were just out of gas. Because for the Bucks, they dominated the Phoenix Suns. They dominated on every aspect on the floor, offensively and defensively. And you just have to applaud on how those guys in Wisconsin got it done. Because remember, I told you that the bench was garbage and that they needed those guys on the bench to play their roles and not do too much. Well, what the Bucks did, they listened and they delivered. As in Game 5 and Game 6, Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton played huge. Both of them played amazing basketball for the talent that they have, and they helped the Bucks increase their lead. They helped the Bucks put finishing touches because yes, Giannis scored 50 and 14 boards, but the game was a 5-point game. It was close, and the Bucks needed those guys to do their roles and get that extra defensive stop, get that board that Connaughton did in the fourth, that extra 3-pointer that Portis hit in the fourth, and the defense that Bobby played all over Devin Booker. But right now, I'm really happy for Chris Middleton and Giannis for being champions, teammates for 8 straight years, and they were finally get that chemistry going. They were finally to have big games in these playoffs to end that playoff curse. And in these finals, yes, Middleton was not great in Game 6 up until the fourth, but you guys know legends are made in the fourth. Kyrie made that shot. KD made that shot in Cleveland. Like all of these, like LeBron James hit that tough 3-point over Tony Parker to seal his second straight title with the Miami Heat. This is where legends are made. And that's when legends wake up and play like champs. And that's what Chris Middleton did in the fourth. And for Giannis Antetokounmpo, what can you say about that young man who I criticize for being a liability on offense and when he had only one skill, which is running and ducking and rebounding. But what did he do, gentlemen? He changed his game. He did, like, he got his floater going, his jump shot going, and he's been doing that all season long. And he has put some weight on him. And it's just GG because he couldn't be stopped. And yes, he started the NBA Finals with a poor performance. Game 1 scoring 20 points and only taking 11 shots. But he knows he needed to do better. He's a 2-time MVP, and now he's an NBA champion, a Finals MVP, joining the all-time greats. And he's also joining the all-time greats, joining Shaquille O'Neal as players to have a 50.14 rebound performance in the finals. Finals. He's also the second player in history to have three 40-point plus performance in the NBA Finals. Giannis Antetokounmpo dominated. The Suns just got dominated by Giannis and the Bucks. And guys, don't worry, we did not forget about the last player of the big three, which is defensive specialist Drew Holiday. Holiday, who started his career in Philadelphia, had great runs with them, got traded to the Pels, where they made the playoffs twice and didn't do much. But he got traded to the Milwaukee Bucks this past offseason. And you knew, and Drew Holiday knew that it was time for them to reach the NBA Finals. And obviously, they were going to have teams that were going to go in their way. But Drew Holiday might not score the way he was brought in for, but he played great defensively. He can rebound the ball. He got some players going. And obviously, once the playoffs started, they knew there were teams that were gonna go in their way. Brooklyn with Kevin Durant, Kyrie, Blake Griffin, and James Harden. And injuries happen all the time. But James Harden was a no-show again, like every playoffs. And then they also beat the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, where the Heat had the Bucks numbers the last couple seasons, and especially in the last playoffs. And they beat them. They swept them. They made Jimmy Butler have his worst shooting performance in his career. They also beat the Hawks in six. And maybe the Hawks might not be in that conversation and teams they're scared of. But I really think the Nets and Heat were good teams, and the Bucks answered, delivered, dominated. And you just have to be happy for Giannis Antetokounmpo, as he's been criticized all season long. He's been criticized the last couple seasons as he was a liability. But he's not point guard Ben Simmons the bum. He's not that guy. Giannis changed his game. He tried to do more things. And look what he's done now to his resume. He's an NBA champion. He's a finals MVP, a two-time MVP. He also beat KD, Kyrie, James Harden, Jimmy Butler, Trae Young, and now Devin Booker, Jay Crowder, and Chris Paul. And it might not be an easy route to the finals, but he delivered when it matters most. And you just have to applaud Giannis and the Bucks. But now the Bucks have two key players that they need to make a decision on, and it's Bobby Portis and PJ Tucker, who are upcoming free agents. And Tucker was a great defensive player for the Bucks, and he wasn't a starter for the Bucks up until the NBA playoffs started. And Portis was a great bench player for the Bucks, and he stepped up when Giannis was out in these playoffs, and he stepped up during the regular season. But I really think between these two, they need to re-sign Portis and not Tucker as much, because Tucker, his offense is horrible, but his defense is where his talent is where he's being paid for. But we need to see what the Bucks will do, because now all they want to do right now is celebrate being NBA champions. But right now, we want to congratulate the Suns and the Bucks for having a wonderful playoff run, an amazing NBA Finals championship series, and to congratulate the Milwaukee Bucks for being the city of champions for the first time in 50 years. But guys, this is the final episode of this NBA season here at Grind Never Stops. But make sure to tune in, as off-season will start pretty soon, and we will be back to talk about the NBA draft, free agency, the team's needs, and more. But this is your host, DJ Joe. And what an ending to this NBA season, as the Bucks are NBA champions. This is your host, DJ Joe, signing out. Mamba out.